What? I said, what? As in, what? You think you're smart? I bet you do, right? Oh yeah, frickin' smart boy being all smart over here. Is that you, Mr. Smarty Pants? Well, if you're so smart, then answer this. Why do clouds, why are clouds there? Don't know, do ya? Yeah, that's what I thought. Not very smart at all, if you ask me. Nope. Clouds are weird. Hey there, how's it going? I'm TechDweeb, that retro game guy on YouTube with the orange shirt and the hands and those awkward paper puppets that he's always playing with. Like a child. Isn't that right, TechDweeb? That's right, TechDweeb. Hey, can I stay on the desk today? No! The Trimui Smart Pro S. That name might make you think that it's smarter than your average handheld, or that it's a professional device for pros, or S. As in like super, I guess. Or maybe S tier. No one knows what it means, but I'll tell you what it does. It plays games. Good. The original Trimui Smart Pro was a budget handheld. For many people, it was the king of sub $100 budget handhelds. And now there's a new one, the Smart Pro S, which improves on the original in a few ways, but it's mostly just a spec-bumped Trimui Smart Pro. All that Trimui Smart Pro goodness, but with a bit more juice in its guts to play more of the higher-end stuff like Nintendo 64 and Dreamcast and PSP. So, is a spec bump good enough to keep this thing at the top of the retro doodad charts? Well, yeah, it's enough. It's really good. Sorry, I guess that kind of spoils the rest of the video. I still freaking love this thing, and I love the upgraded guts version, and I love you for watching the video anyways. Let's begin the discussion with the specific specifications of the Trimui SPS. Oh my god, maybe that's why they called it the Smart Pro S, because now it's SPS, like the opposite of PSP. This thing is a lot like a PSP, so that could actually be a thing. Anyways, this SPS is rocking the all-winner A523 CPU. It has 1GB of LPDDR4X RAM, 8GB of eMMC internal storage. However, it comes with at least a 64GB SD card for games. The screen is basically 5 inches with a resolution of 1280 by 720. We also get a 5000 mAh battery, some sort of Wi-Fi, some sort of Bluetooth, and it's running some sort of Linux. In the box, we get the Trimui SPS and a Word, paper, and a USB-C cable for charging and file transfer, and there's our 64GB SD card. Because I got this from LitNXT, they sent me their bundle, which comes with a screen protector and a big preloaded SD card with a custom Crossmix system and ROM sets and everything all set up for you. We'll check this out in a bit. And they also sent a sticker. I think this is supposed to go on here. Yeah, just like that. LitNXT sent this to me, so it's my job to tell you to buy it from them if you want one. If you're not familiar with LitNXT, they basically always have a sale going on. So just make sure that you look at this bar on the top of the page to see what the promo code is currently. On the front, we have the screen, which is where you watch your games happen. On the left is a D-pad in the up top position and a left stick in the down there position and a menu button and some speaker holes. On the right, we have a bunch of video game buttons and another thumbstick down there and start and select. Up top, we have bumpers and triggers and volume up and down and a USB-C hole for OTG stuff and a home button and a power button. Underneath, we have a function switch slider thing and a gray plastic rectangle with no discernible purpose and USB-C hole for charging and file transfer and an SD card hole and a headphone hole and a microphone hole for some reason, a lanyard hole on the left, nothing on the right. Around back, there's some air vent holes up here and some more air vent holes in the middle, and these holes down here are for nothing. They're useless. Like you. Me? No, not you. Him. Yeah, that's fair. The Trimui SPS is the same as the Trimui Smart Pro in every way, except for the ways that it's not the same because it's different in those ways. We get the same size and shape, the same great solid build that feels premium even though it's budget priced, the same pocket-friendly form factor, the same screen, same hand feel, it weighs about the same kind of feel to the buttons and the D-pad. It is the same for all intensive purposes, which is good because the Trimui Smart Pro is freaking awesome. And this is freaking awesome for the same reasons. I love the feel of this D-pad, I love these buttons, the sticks, and the triggers. It's got a unique feel overall in the hands, but I really enjoy it for retro games. But there are some subtle differences in this SPS version that makes it a bit more awesome. The D-pad and the buttons are a tad bit more elevated, which gives them a slightly more responsive feel. The trigger buttons feel a bit less stiff. The sticks are now TMR sticks and they have L3 and R3 click, which is one area that the Smart Pro fell flat. These subtle differences elevate this in a bunch of minor ways. Whether or not you like the look and feel will depend on you. It's definitely a lot more condensed feeling than something like the Magmi Air X, which is another great budget doodad. This is smaller and less comfy than the Magmi, but it's still comfy enough for me. The screen on this thing is fine. It's bright enough for most indoor needs, but it's not as bright as other screens. Not the best viewing angles either. It's not amazing, but honestly, it really is fine. It gets the job done. What I love about this screen is that it's big. 5 inches is a great size for retro stuff. And it's 720p, which is a lot of pixels to work with for pixel scaling. It's probably not going to blow you away, but I have no problem using this to game on. I think it's fine. The sound is also fine. It sounds good, maybe a bit muffled, but that muffle actually kind of adds a bit of bass to it. But yeah, it's not going to impress anyone with the sound quality, but it's fine. System-wise, Trimui has their own system, which I'll show you. However, there are other options. Crossmix is like an overhaul of the stock system with more up-to-date emulators and more features and better performance. That's what's on the preloaded card that I got from LinNXT, and I'll show you that too. And I also want to mention that Newly will be available for the SPS. It's in alpha right now, however, it will be released soon. The one caveat is that the Newly build for this device, you can't copy the games to your device by putting the card in your computer if you're not on Linux. This device has some weird partition stuff. You can flash the card on your PC and you can install Newly on the device using that card, but only Linux PCs will let you access the file storage after Newly is installed. However, because this device has Wi-Fi, you can easily transfer your files over. The other one caveat with Newly is that the performance isn't as good on PSP. And probably some other high-end stuff. I assume that once this Newly build is ready for the public release, they'll have better performance. I just wanted to show you that, yeah, Newly is coming. The stock card uses the stock system, obviously, and this works amazing. I actually really like the way Trimui does their system. It's easy to use and it's fun to navigate. You can tap this home button up top to open some system quick settings like brightness and volume, toggle Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. There's even a media player up here. Change the performance mode on the fly. You got some nice pre-made playlists here, and then you have all your game lists. These game lists, they kind of suck though. They're all over the place, really disorganized. Like they did that thing where they put numbers in front of the game names, so they're not in alphabetical order. Some games have weird art, most have no art. Some systems have folders and there's multiple different language versions of the games. Only 9 PSP games, only 12 PS1 games, no Neo Geo, no DS games. So it's just a messy game collection. It also comes with modern PC ports, and I don't tend to agree with having modern stuff on these things that you should be buying yourself, but it's my job to tell you what's on here, so yeah, this is on here. And then there's some simple apps for system stuff, Moonlight for PC streaming, and you can connect this to your PC over USB to transfer files. And then there's the system settings to change all sorts of system things. Overall, it is a good system, it's just there's some questionable game collection choices. Now, on to the custom card from LinNXT. First of all, these cards are $30 or $40 if you just buy them individually, but you can get them cheaper in the bundle. And these cards are good brand name cards. This is a SanDisk. This 256 gigabyte SanDisk card alone on Amazon is $30. So for an extra $10, you get it filled with the best retro stuff that you could ever want for a doodad like this. So considering that, I think these are actually a pretty good deal for what you get. You get Crossmix, which is the latest system for the Trimui SPS, the latest version with all the updated emulators and extra tools and features, and also the most amazing ROM sets that I've ever seen from a pre-made card. I've shown off these cards before, so I'm not going to go into tons of detail here, but the short version is that these ROM sets are complete and clean, very well organized, and they also include a ton of extra stuff like ROM hacks, modern games. Here in GBA, they have Pokemon ROM hacks, translations, All the games launch in the appropriate emulators, and they're all set up with unique and well-chosen shaders and bezel art and all that stuff. You can change anything you want to as well, and there's tons on here too. I have the 256GB card, and it has all the old stuff, all the Atari and NES and Super Nintendo and Genesis and Game Boy. All that stuff is on here. Complete ROM sets of everything, some extra obscure stuff like Amstrad CPC, Channel F, DOS games, Game & Watch, but they also have tons of high-end stuff on here. Hundreds of N64 games, and they got lots of Dreamcast and Nintendo DS and PS1 and PSP. I love these cards for exactly this reason. This is the sort of thing that you can easily do yourself if you like doing it, but they're good for anyone who doesn't know how to do this themselves, or for anyone who wants a shortcut. I think they're good value for what you get and how much time they save you. When it comes to performance, you're gonna basically get everything that you'd expect from a budget doodad, but without the usual caveats. For example, you're gonna be able to play every Nintendo 64 game. Every game runs perfect. You will also get all the PSP, even upscaled to 2x resolution. However, the only caveat for PSP is that the hardest games, basically just the God of War games, if you're sticking to 2x resolution, you're going to need to either use frame skip or enable the 30 FPS patch to lock it at 30 FPS, which is included. Those are the only two games that I found with performance issues though. Everything else ran perfect. You'll also get most Dreamcast, however, the very hardest to emulate Dreamcast games aren't perfect. You'll get like, I don't know, 95% of Dreamcast games, but not everything. But that's still a ton of stuff for a device in this price range. And you'll get all the older stuff too, of course. 4x3 stuff will have some negative space around the side, obviously, since this is a widescreen. The custom Crossmix card has some bezel art to fill out the empty space though, and I really do enjoy playing all this kind of stuff on here. The stuff I love most on here is GBA. This is an amazing GBA device because of the 3x2 aspect ratio filling the screen so nice, and the GBA pixel art looks gorgeous on this display. But PSP is really where it's at for this doodad. This is an amazing PSP. It runs the games perfectly, upscaled, and it just feels like a PSP. They even called it the SPS, so they obviously wanted to evoke the PSP energy. The fan does kick on when things get cooking, but it's not a super loud fan. It's around back, and I don't usually notice it much when I'm gaming, and if you turn on the power save mode when you're playing the older stuff, you won't hear the fan at all. And tons of stuff runs great even on the lowest power mode. Even lots of 2x PSP ran with no problem at all, and you'll get better battery life like that. Speaking of which, I did 2 battery tests. My low-end scenario was running an NES game at the low power mode, 50% screen brightness, and I calculated 6 hours and 15 minutes of game time like that. My high-end scenario was playing God of War on PSP on the high power mode, and I still got 3 hours and 7 minutes of game time. This is a good battery for a budget doodad for sure. You know, as I was reviewing this, I went back to the original Trimui Smart Pro, and I realized that it really wasn't that long ago that the idea of getting every PSP game running at 2x resolution on a sub $100 device was a fantasy. And all the N64 and most Dreamcast. And now we have multiple options for this, like the iNeo Pocket Air Mini and the Magni Air X. Both of those are around $100 give or take, so they're kind of competing with the Trimui SPS. I've reviewed both of those, so check out my videos if you're shopping around. And both of those can actually play more stuff than this can. But here's the thing, when it comes to retro games, any Android device that you get will be a DIY situation. You're gonna have to set them up yourself and install your own emulators and add your own games and install your own front end and scrape your box art all yourself. It's not the end of the world, especially if you have a helpful guide like this one that I made. Maybe if you like to tinker and you want the best hardware, then another option will be a better choice for you, but I think lots of people looking for a budget device are looking for something more plug and play. Maybe this is their first device, or maybe they're buying a gift for their friend. In my mind, a budget device feels like the kind of thing that you just want to buy and turn on and then play some PSP or whatever. So I think that the Trimui SPS comes out ahead in that regard, especially since you can get a preloaded card, a good one that's all set up for you. That's what sets this one apart from the rest of the more powerful sub $100 handhelds. You can play your games right away and tinker if you want to. The community really seemed to like the original Trimui Smart Pro, and I think that the SPS is a safe bet. I really like it. That's all I can say. I mean, apart from everything else that I said already for the last 15 minutes. That said, after reviewing this, I think I was right at the start of the video. It's not quite as smart as it thinks it is. It just acts smart, but it's not. It's kind of dumb. Just gonna sit there like a dummy, huh? Yeah, that's what I expected. Not smart at all. They should call you the Trimui Dumb. The Trimui Dumb S. The S stands for stupid.